Hello and welcome to Network Africa on Channels Television with me, Cynthia Are. It's the first Tuesday in the month of August and things are far from rosy in Burundi's capital, Bujumbura. One day after President Pierre Nkurunziza called for calm on the part of Burundians, asking them to desist from vengeance attacks following the assassination of General Adolphe Nshimirimana, some Burundians turned a deaf ear to the call. A prominent Burundi human rights activist who openly opposed President Nkurunziza's controversial bid for a third term in office was shot and seriously injured last night. Pierre Nkurunziza, who heads the Association for the Protection of Human Rights and Detained Persons, also known as APROD, was shot by motorcyclists. Burundi has been in chaos since last April when the president announced he would seek a third term in office. That's a move which opponents and Western powers say violates the constitution and the Arusha peace deal. Now, who exactly is this man who was shot, this prominent activist? Well, he is Mr. Pierre, as we told you earlier on, and this is what he is known for. He is a public servant, and he served with the Burundi Finance Ministry. He was also a police officer for the Air and Customs Police. He was wrongfully accused and arrested for possession of an illegal weapon. He served 2 years in prison. Like we told you earlier on, he's also the founder of APROD. He also received death threats for his stance and work on improving human rights in Burundi. He was awarded Martin Ennals Award for Human Rights Defenders back in 2007, was arrested on May the 15th, 2014 in the capital Bujumbura. He's a very huge opponent of President Nkurunziza, and the latest to his profile is that he was shot last night, but thankfully he survived. Well, from the profile of Mr. Pierre Nkurunziza, we go live to London, where African news analyst Mr. Warwick Onyema is standing by. Mr. Onyema, thank you very much for your time on the program.
You're welcome.
Now, what do you make of these tit-for-tat attacks?
Only to be expected, I think. The killing, the shooting by military personnel of the chief of security for Nkurunziza, Nshimirimana, Adolphe Nshimirimana, was bound to elicit countermeasures by those who support Nkurunziza. He was no ordinary military person. He was the head of security, personal security for Nkurunziza, and he's number 2 man. So he's very close to the government. And his killing, he was a fairly obvious target, because not only was he killed, but his own security personnel were killed as well. So a tit-for-tat killing in which Nkurunziza, unfortunately, has now been shot and critically injured was only to be expected.
Now, according to our sources in Bujumbura, the murder of the general, like you said, has delayed the formation of a unity government. My question is, could this formation, no matter how long it might be delayed, could it be the way out of the conflict?
The difficulty with a unity government is that you just cannot see how it's going to be formed. A lot of the people who would have been in that government or might have been eligible for that government have fled the country. Of civil society, which was the organization, the umbrella organization for people opposing Nkurunziza's re-election, of them only Pierre Nkurunziza was still in the country, which is probably why he got shot and nobody else.
Now,
So I really cannot see how a unity government can be formed when most of the people who would be in it are out of the country in fear of their lives.
So now that we have a scenario where people are being targeted, you know, we're seeing some vengeance attacks here, and also seeing a case where you're saying formation of a unity government might be difficult. How do you reckon things might play out in days and weeks to come in Burundi?
I think you're going to get more of this tit-for-tat killing, and different personnel will be taking it in turns to kill their opponents. And I dare say eventually it will become more generalized and you'll start getting armed confrontation between the opposition and Nkurunziza's troops.
Well, Mr. Warwick Onyema, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your input as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cynthia. I wish I could have seen you. You weren't on screen.
Oh, you will. I'm sure of that. Thank you so much.
All right, Cynthia. Bye-bye.
Bye. Mr. Warwick Onyema, an African news analyst speaking to us from London. Well, still to come on Network Africa. President Omar al-Bashir of Sudan, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court, could be speaking at a United Nations summit in September. The question is, will the ICC seize the opportunity to arrest him? Find out in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every hour and every day, business decisions are taken across the globe. From banking to the capital market, manufacturing to maritime, from aviation to insurance, SMEs to blue-chip companies. We look at the different angles of business from the government and private sector perspectives. We speak with experts to provide unbiased views that help you take key decisions in your daily business life. We don't just talk the economy. We serve you a cocktail of business updates that help you make profitable business decisions. Join us every weekday at this time for Business Morning, only on Channels Television. Business Morning, keeping a tab on the economy.
Welcome back. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Now, according to Sudan's Deputy UN Envoy, Sudanese President Omar Hassan al-Bashir, who has been indicted by the International Criminal Court on war crimes and genocide charges, is planning to make a trip to New York come next month, and he'll be speaking at the United Nations. A provisional UN agenda for a Sustainable Development Summit lists the Sudanese head of state as scheduled to speak on September the 26th, and the summit is due to formally adopt a plan for the world's sustainable development over the next 15 years. Back in 2013, President Bashir wanted to speak at the UN General Assembly in 2013, but Sudanese officials said his US visa application was left pending, preventing him from traveling. Members of the International Criminal Court are obliged to act on arrest warrants. However, it's very important to note that the United States is not a member of the ICC, and Washington also has a special agreement to allow leaders of UN member states to attend the annual General Assembly. Just a reminder of the charges leveled against the president of Sudan. It's actually under three categories. That's genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. Under genocide, he's accused of killing members of the four Masalit and Zagawa ethnic groups, and also causing the groups to causing them serious bodily and mental harm, and also inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about these groups' physical destruction. Under the crimes against humanity, he's accused of murder, extermination, forcible transfer, rape, and torture. Under the war crimes accusations, he's accused of attacks on civilians in Darfur and also pillaging towns and villages. Well, still to come on Network Africa. Political instability and inferior air links take a huge toll on Madagascar's tourism industry. Details in just a moment.